Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today on the channel is going to be a little bit different. I thought I would talk about 5 NES games that I think you need to be playing in 2022. These aren't going to be your obvious Super Mario Bros. 3, Mike Tyson Punch-Out, all those type of games. These are going to be lesser known titles that still deserve some play because in my opinion, they're great games, plus they got some banging soundtracks. So without any further ado, let's roll the motherfucking intro. So the first game I'm going to talk about is a game called Batman for the NES. And I know exactly what everybody's thinking. We all know Batman is a great game, but in my opinion, this game is actually underrated still. It's one of the best games on the console in my opinion. It's hard to find things I don't like about this game. I love the level design, I love the graphics, I love the soundtrack, I love the different gadgets that you can use. I love the cutscenes. I love the boss battles. There's just so much I love about this game, and very, very little that I don't like about it. It's just one of those games I keep coming back to over and over, no matter how many times I've played it or how many times that I've beaten it. And one of the best things about this game is its price tag. It's very reasonable still, which is awesome because it gives new collectors the opportunity to buy a fantastic game without having to break the bank to do it. Even though Sunsoft made fantastic games for the NES, I really feel that this game still holds up today, and that's why I think it's a game that you should be playing in 2022. The next game I want to talk about is a game called Nigel Manziel's World Championship Racing for the NES. This is one of those games that you don't run across very much in the wild, but I think this game is fantastic. It plays like a much better version of Pole Position. It has really cool visuals when you go into the pit stop and you see your guy talking to you. It has a great soundtrack also. It has 2 different race modes, a simple exhibition race or a full-on campaign mode championship series. This game has 16 different tracks you can race through while trying to win the gold against 11 other drivers. No other NES racing game offered that many at the time. Since it was a very late released NES game, it has some fantastic graphics with a killer underrated soundtrack. There's also a Super Nintendo version which is superior in pretty much every way, but if you're looking for games on the NES library that you may not have heard of or played yet, this one is it. And you will not be disappointed. And that's why I think you should be playing this game in 2022. The next game I want to talk about is a game called Heavy Barrel. This is one of the best 2-player co-op games on the NES, period. Not many people talk about it for some reason, but trust me, this game is extremely addicting and incredibly fun. It was released in 1990, and I think it's one that just flew underneath the radar, especially for co-op play, because I don't hear many people talking about it at all. The game basically consists of a terrorist organization that takes control of a nuclear warhead missile site, and it's your job to infiltrate the enemy base and kill its leader. The name of the game is from an in-game weapon. The Heavy Barrel is found in 6 different pieces, and it's an energy cannon capable of destroying any enemy in the game with a single shot. When you play the game, you need to acquire all 6 parts to build the Heavy Barrel. Once you do, it's time to lay the smack down. Cool music, fun gameplay, and the superb 2-player co-op mode make this a must-play in 2022, so check it out. The next game I want to talk about is a game called Roller Games, made by Ultra, which was basically a subsidiary of Konami, so they could basically make more titles for the NES back in the day. This is a pretty unique game. It's almost like an isometric rollerblading fist-fighting beat-em-up. Yes, you heard me right. It's kind of crazy sounding, but this game is actually really fun. Plus, it's extremely cheap, so you can pick this up for like $10 and have a blast with it. But I'm gonna be honest, later on in the game, the platforming gets incredibly brutal, and you gotta be pinpoint accurate to progress further. The game is not perfect by any means, but it's really fun, and it's based around a television show that was out in the 1980s. The game is built around the show, but it has nothing to do with the show, if that makes any sense. So the announcers from the show were on there, but the premise of the game is much different from the show that was on television. In this game, you're basically trying to get to the end of the stage by missing obstacles, knocking out opponents, and at the end of each stage is a level boss, which is really cool. This game isn't the greatest, but for being an extremely cheap NES game, I think it's one that you should check out because not many people played it and not many people even remember it. That's why I think you should be playing it in 2022. The last game I want to talk about is probably one that you wouldn't think I'd be talking about, but I feel like this game is pretty fun, especially when you have a couple people over at your house with you to play. That game is Anticipation. Now, if you play the board game of Anticipation, it's pretty much what you do in this version on the NES. As a player, you pick between one of 4 pieces: a high heel shoe, a bugle, an ice cream cone, or a teddy bear. The game slowly draws a picture, and the first person to buzz in may try and guess it. You have 25 seconds to guess what the picture is, but if you don't get it correct, it locks that player out for the remainder of the drawing, and the game resumes and other players can buzz in and try and guess it. If you play the computer in this game, there's 3 different levels of difficulty, and let me tell you right now, the very hard difficulty is absolutely insane. There will be 2 dots connected on the screen, and the computer is already buzzing in, guessing exactly what the picture is going to be. It's absolutely insane. But I picked this game because of its multiplayer capability, plus it has an awesome soundtrack composed by David Weiss. If you get a chance, check this one out. It's extremely cheap, and I think if you do play this co-op, it can be crazy fun, especially if you've had a couple drinks beforehand.
Well, there you go. There's 5 awesome NES titles that you need to be playing in 2022. These games are great. If you have any memories of any of these games, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, say it with me now. Keep on reminiscing, baby.